we're going to let theta be an angle in standard position with xy being a point on the terminal side of theta, and r equals the square root of x squared plus y squared, and also that radius cannot equal 0. So the 6 trig functions of theta are defined as follows. So if this is true, then sine of theta equals y over r equals y over r. Cosine of theta is x over r, and tangent of theta is y over x. I'm sure you can figure out what cosecant of theta and the other ones on the right will be. So this will be r over y, and y cannot equal 0. This is r over x, and x cannot equal 0. And cotangent of theta is x over y, and y cannot equal 0. So if this is true, what I want you to try is the exploration on the next side here, where you're trying to use a unit circle to define the trig functions of any angle. And so here is x and y. You need to try to figure out what is the radius here. Once you figure out the radius, then you can use those ratios on this page to figure out what are these values. So go ahead and pause the video at this point so you can see if you can try these out. So let's first find the radius. So the radius said that it was r equals square root of x squared plus y squared. And so here's x, here's y. So the radius equals the square root of -1/2 squared plus square root of 3 over 2 squared. So that's going to be 1/2 squared is 1/4 plus square root of 3 over 2. That is going to be 3 over 4. So this is the square root of 4 over 4, or the radius equals 1. Okay, so the radius equals 1. So now let's take a look at our ratios. Sine of theta. So we're only looking for sine, cosine, and tangent. So sine of theta is y over r. So that is square root of 3 over 2 and over 1, but we don't need to write that, so we're okay. Cosine of theta is -1/2, again, all over 1, but that's okay to write it just like that. Now, tangent of theta is square root of 3. It's y over x, so square root of 3 over 2 all over -1/2. So if we simplify that, square root of 3 over 2 times the reciprocal of the denominator, so that's -2 over 1. This ends up being negative square root of 3. And then b, if you figured it out, the radius again is 1. And so if you find out the other 6 trig functions there, you should have gotten 1, and then negative root, oh no, that's not 1, sorry. That would be square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of theta would be negative square root of 2 over 2, because you have to rationalize the denominator. And then tangent of theta is -1. For this one here, when the side stops, or it's at 0, -1, we have -1, 0, and then we actually get for the last one, remember that's y over x, -1 over 0, so therefore that is undefined. Okay, and the last one, the last couple of 3, you should have gotten square root of 3 over 2, 1/2, and then negative root 3. Sine of theta is negative root 2 over 2. Cosine of theta is root 2 over 2. Tangent is -1. For the last one, you would get sine of theta is 0. Cosine of theta is -1. And tangent of theta is 0. Again, we're just using the ratios. Sine of theta, again, is y over r. Cosine of theta is x over r. Tangent of theta is y over x. So we're just looking at these ratios here and trying to figure out what is our radius. And for each of these, our radius is all 1. And so ways that you can use the unit circle to define the trig functions of any angle is the coordinate points. The coordinate points on the unit circle can be used to find the ratios of the 6 trig functions. Okay. Basically, we know that sine, if it's a unit circle, again, specifically it's a unit circle, sine equals y, cosine equals x, and tangent is y over x.